Okay, let's just move side to side, but try and just keep a vertical spine now. And just really let the straight leg really stretch. Yeah, so we work a lot on the pulling leg. And of course, that one is important because that's where the action comes from. But it's important that effectively the back leg, which is this one, because I've turned slightly this direction, it's important that this one can just release. Otherwise, your cross energy won't come out properly. So I have to be able to just release this side, which means almost folding this way a little bit. You can just see the curve in the body and just getting this joint open. So we tend to sort of focus on one thing at a time, but of course, when you're in the thick of it, it's all working together. And the whole idea of Taoism is that you're very aware of the balance of all these different parts. So this has to just be able to just let go. Not just letting go here, but letting the legs stretch. So as you're moving, you're not really sure whether you're pulling or pushing, because both are there, both are happening. Yeah. So your bending leg is actually flexing the spine, is trying to make the spine crumple up, like you're pulling your belly in. Whereas the extending leg is extending the spine and getting it to do this, yeah? And so those two are balanced all the time in the spine. So we just need to allow each leg to influence the spine, not just the leg that the weight is in. Yeah. So this is the leg that is going to pull to move me. So if I can really straighten it before I bend it, then I just get a better kick in when I do bend it. So I really straighten it so that this is sort of happening. And then as I tug, there's real strength in it. So, wow. Yeah, so that there has to be that sort of yogic element in the work, a stretching element. I mean, I think for me, that was like John's big omission, is that he never stretched. And when he did the weight training, he just did short movements. So his muscles just got shorter and shorter, which tends to happen with Tai Chi masters because everything's always round and bent. So they never straighten anything. So we just have to make sure we don't do that. So here, just really straightening that leg as though it's pushing in that direction, just feeling that whip through the body. Yeah. So there's very much a sense that you are just part of a much larger system. The same way that it is when we yield, when we're doing this, we're creating these big circles that contain the other person. So here, just feeling these circles that we are part of. Whoa. That's it. And just enjoy the sort of the real dig in the joint. Yeah, so it really gets in here and it really gets here. All the parts that are stretching, where you feel the difficulty, those are the important bits. Those are the bits we just need to make a little bit longer. Okay, let's do this. This is the last one, yeah. So. Okay, so now just back to the middle. So I always think of like the Tai Chi master as being like a yoga master inside that's wearing the clothes of the opposite. Yeah. So, that definition of Tai Chi is the art of concealing hardness with softness. So your softness, your roundness, your amenability is a disguise that just enables you to hunt energy, to gather and extend. in the human universe. And inside, you're just like a meditation master with a perfect vertical spine, completely detached. Yeah, so in Taoism, the internal and the external complement each other. They don't mirror each other. Okay, so the work with the stretching we've just done, it should just help this really open more now. Yeah. So just consider the arms, yeah? Just consider the arms. If my arms are hanging on the side, they're just hanging heavily, yeah? And then when I bring them up, I can extend energy with them. I can reach out with my mind, with my energy, with my spirit, as though my arms are growing. Like there's a hand of energy that comes out and reaches and touches things. Yeah? So what we'd like is the same quality in the legs. So the leg, in the same way that the arms hang from the shoulders, we'd like the feeling that the legs hang from the hips. Yeah? So I'm extending energy down my legs and into the ground. And it's that actually holds me up. Rather than just locking these muscles, I'm spraying energy through my legs like hoses of water. And to keep that continuous, and my mind has to be on it, this is what's difficult about it. And then the action of letting the energy out keeps everything open, keeps the joints open. And that is only possible on a sort of continuous level when you find your true center, when you find the place from which you can emanate rather than being outside struggling to get into it. And that's just here. And for me, the only way to really get a good feeling for your dantian is to do seated meditation cross-legged, with legs crossed of some sort, where both your hands and your feet are very close to the dantian. And then it's just a natural place to dwell. Okay, so now let's just exercise within it, yeah? So just getting waves of energy, really. I'm just beckoning a wave of energy up from the ground. So what do I need to do with my whole body to get that to come up? Yeah? So it's not just my hands, yeah? I'm really forcing the energy out of my legs and pressing the ground to encourage it to just give up a bit of its energy. Whoa. And I'm breathing in. Yeah, so I just muster everything under my command to help bring the energy up. So Yeah, so this is just an exercise from Kundalini yoga that Geraldine showed me. So, but of course it's Qigong effectively. Yes, all these things, you just set up an exercise that's so simple, you don't really have to think too hard about it. Keep the mind with it, breathe with it, and just see where it takes you. And then just back into riding horse. So when we come back to riding horse, we just sort of register the trace of the previous exercise still resonating inside the body. And now let's just try a bit of this one. Yeah, so here you're like a bellows that's sucking air in and then squeezing air out. So you want to feel that it's the movement of the arms and the consequent flexing and extending of the spine that's responsible for the breath coming in and out. So here it's my arms that suck the air in and my arms that squeeze it out. Or you can work the other way. You can feel as though it's your breath that's actually responsible for the movements. It doesn't really matter as long as you're linking the two. So you're like one big lung, a wind bag. That's lovely. Yeah, so it's like the feeling is that the more you go into it, the more you get inside it, the more you sort of lose sort of normal sensory awareness of the room, the more your energy actually emanates into the room. So when you see someone doing it and they're sort of looking around like this, then there's a sense that, okay, they've got a sensory awareness, but their energy is really limited. Whereas when they just disappear inside, there's a sense that they're actually touching all the corners of the room with their energy. So the whole room is breathing. Right. Okay. So just feeling the posture. So the head suspended, heavy sacrum, spine like the plumb line, with a bit of lead at the bottom, which is your sacrum. The legs really coming out of the side rather than from underneath. like two claws. And now let's just turn. So just turning. So let's just take it really, really slowly and just feel what it does. So basically, when you turn to the corner, you've turned into bow and arrow posture. Yeah. So now this foot is my front foot and this is my back foot. And the only thing I'd need to do to make it a true bow and arrow is just turn my front foot out a little bit. Yeah. And now you have all the all the torque of bow and arrow. Yeah. And then just bring it back to the front. And now you have riding horse with this equality in both legs. And then you just turn this side. Yeah. So just feel the difference between the two legs. Yeah. So this is your front leg that's got most of your weight. So that the leg we're working on today really is this back leg, this feeling of it just releasing down, all down the front here, but especially down the back. And then just slowly turn it back to the front, feel them equalizing. Just let it settle a bit to get both legs equal. And then slowly turn the other side. And just feel the back leg extending. Because we're sort of sunk all the time in Tai Chi, so we're so bent is our, yielding is our most common mode. So we just want to feel the attack. So this leg extending as it would be into this hand from the full leg. Yeah. Wow. And we want to feel that as just a relaxation. Yeah. So the leg, it just expands to take up the space it's in. But we want to feel that expansion as being a release of energy. So like something is just flowing down my leg and through the ground. And then slowly back to the front. Just sort of pump them a little bit just to equalize them. Remember, so across the sacrum, relaxing, legs coming out like this, real knees out, legs hugging the ground. And then just turn and just feel this back leg just change. So from being like this, suddenly it becomes like this. And we just want to feel that slow transition. Yeah, so there's a sense that this side here has got like a circuit like this, and this side here has got a circuit like this. And we'd like to be able to just split the two sides of the body so that each side can really do what it does without them cancelling each other out. Otherwise, it's not bow and arrow, it's just riding horse that's twisted a bit. Yeah, so it's this part here that's stressed on me anyway. And then just down into the leg. And then slowly back, feel the two sides equalizing. And then just round here. Whoa. So we just want to feel those two modes in operation in the body at the same time. The contracting in this side and the expansion in this side. So your torso it's like it's giving two messages. Yeah? Like you've got real different colors like black and white. And then you just relax into it and just let the posture work on your energy. But for that, the mind needs to be present. The mind can only think to itself if you've got tense. So if you find the mind thinking, if you find yourself getting distracted, then somewhere in your body you've instituted some tension. So you've cut off from energy. You've done the opposite of sinking into energy. Wow. And if you're tense and holding on, you won't be able to release your energy. So now let's slowly turn it back. Oh, and just feel. So you can feel that there's something very artificial about riding horse, about being in the middle. And it actually wants to be in something like this. There's much more spirit. Yeah. So spirit, if you like, it's like the little frisson between the yin and the yang. So, yeah, my two sides are just so different now. So there's bound to be spirit. Wow. So this is the important one. Just let it release. Don't push with it. Let it do its own pushing. And so a lot of it's just about just trying not to be the control freak. You don't want this central authority that's telling these two things how to get it right, these two sides of your body, because that'll just mess everything up and there'll be no energy. So you just have to relax into it and just let them play, let them do their thing, and then that will produce energy. And what John would say is that it's then that you get beyond your imagination. It's then that you get into sort of mystery and magic. Wow. And then slowly back to the front. And I just feel that there's almost a flatness to riding a horse. And then the energy that you do get to come up, it's very masculine. You know, it's very sort of, look at me. Yeah. And so now let's just get in, just turn now, just like the first warm-up exercise. But just feel the back leg especially. Just feel it naturally extending to take up the space that's given to it as this hip moves in this direction effectively. And we want that lengthening of the leg to be a release. And when you release something, it sort of takes your breath away. It's like, it's a difficult feeling. We're not used to it. We're not used to letting our energy out. So here and here. It's the leg isn't pushing me around, but it almost is. So just knock the Min Meng, locking the gate of life. Now just be mindful of just how impossible it is to keep two things in balance, because the mind just wants to take control and become the one. So one side is contracting, the other side is opening. This is why it's the hand that goes behind you that becomes the fist, and the hand that's in front remains open. So the hand that strikes the Min Meng becomes a fist. Wow. Yeah, so God created man in his image and likeness. In actual fact, it's the other way around, yeah? We created God as an image of our ego, yeah? So this sort of central on or on high authority. Wow. Yeah, so we're not trying to make something. We're just trying to see how something works. It's like taking the thing to pieces to try and find out what makes it tick. Okay, and then back to here. And again, just feel those two releases. So the two sides of the body sort of feeling as though they want to move in away from each other. So there's a general drift like this. And then just feel how important it is to have a toned danchen that can just make sure you don't fall apart. So just feel the min meng. The min meng is spreading. Okay, and now let's just get a circuit going. So down the back of the leg, up the front. So it's basically a figure of 8. So we just want this feeling that the buttock is relaxing down the back of the leg. So we only want that action in the one leg at a time, yeah? So that I can get this sense. Yeah? So this something has slipped down here and something has slid down here. Yeah? And so when you're in the front foot, that sliding down of the buttock produces this circuit. And when you're in the back foot, it's the same circuit, it's just slipped behind you. Yeah. So here, this is lifting, and then here, this is lifting, but behind you. Yeah? And so, ooh. Ooh. You just have to be careful with your back because it really opens it up. And when that happens, you can get injuries. Yeah. Remember they do this a lot in Bagua and those other things? It's a beautiful shape. Ooh. It's like snake creeps down. Yeah, this is like the snake here. I never know which hand it is in. squatting single which one is meant to be the snake, but it always feels to me like the hook, like the backhand. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, so your front foot becomes the anchor where you're holding on for dear life, and then the back leg can really just let the energy out. This is the idea. Ooh. And then let's just get it just simple, just on this sort of more like a yielding. Yeah, so your yielding establishes a root. So here, from which the other side of the body can release. So you just want the real feeling that the arm that's coming forwards has got there because of what you're doing here, not because I've done something like this. Yeah. So it's my yielding that creates the shapes and the yielding that occupies my mind. Because if my mind goes into the attack, I'll tend to stunt it. Because I don't really know what a releasing mind is. It's not in our arsenal. So, yeah, so when you yield, you're effectively sort of turning away from the other person, but not in order to snub them or ignore them, but so that your energy can get with them. Yeah. Because if I'm looking at them, my energy's back here somewhere, yeah, and shrunken. So here I just turn away and something comes out of this side, like a big wave. And it's the wave that takes the arm. So the arm is lagging the wave. It's not the arm that produces the wave, it's the turn, it's the yield that produces the wave. And it just happens to take the arm along with it. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, so let's just bring it back. Okay, so now let's just turn it again. And just feel the 2 feet. So one foot sort of doing this a bit, clenching. Here, like almost like the front of the foot is pulling a bit. And then here, this foot is opening and extending, like I'm trying to get my little toe to go as far back as possible. And then just slowly back. And 1. So one side of my body is rooting and going down and clenching, and the other side is releasing, coming up, bending back, and then back here. One more this side. Whoa. And we want to feel those 2 differences in the legs as just a function of the posture rather than something you're doing. This is always something that your mind has to look at. Just, can I get it to happen without making any effort, without me having to do anything? Yeah. So if I just turn and just come into this leg a bit, it will naturally do this, and this leg will naturally do this. Yeah. And that's what I want. And then when you're in the middle, you're just doing both of those things. Yeah. So there's part of you is pulling yourself down, and another part of you is pushing yourself up in order to keep buoyant at the level that you are. And so we just try and just be conscious of that, what we call central equilibrium. Yeah, so you've got part of your mind doing this, and another part of your mind doing this, and they're sort of in different dimensions. That's the only way they can both be in the same space. Otherwise, they'll just cancel each other out, and you'll just get a stiff, frozen posture. And the way to keep them separate is just have a very gentle play between the 2 feet. So you're always moving side to side a little bit, and you're always turning a little bit, even if it's virtual. Otherwise, they will tend to sort of just freeze together, and then that gives the mind an opportunity to be distracted. Yeah, so when you can keep both of those flows going, the down and the up, then spirit is just that, the sort of the rub between them. You can feel it, so ooh, something's stirring. But it's almost like an interference pattern. You know, it's a function of both, but it doesn't come from either. And then let's bring it back to the tension posture. So this is just a posture where everything is brought to a minimum, but it's still there. You've still got everything there. That it's just quiet. Yeah, but you've still got that play. Yeah, so you're in two minds all the time. Sort of seductive, yeah? So this is how we break the dominance of the ego. The ego is like the one. And we're just trying to just feel the two. So by the time the one has made up its mind, energy has already moved on. So it's, the ego is always behind the times, yeah? But John, that was just coarseness. Yeah, so he always used to say that the best form of intelligence is foresight, is to sort of, some part of you can just sense how the future, even if it's only the next millisecond, is going to pan out because you're already there. And your ego can't do that because it's always falling away backwards. So some part of your energy, you need to produce this spirit, this sort of heat that comes from these two things rubbing against each other, and then it's that seeps. And then you're never quite sure if you're sensing the future a little bit or whether you're producing it, and then it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's finish.